was interesting. I was sitting on a balcony, that beautiful, fluent cover drive he played, but they still applauded the nice stroke.
It'll take a while for him to settle in, I reckon.
Yes.
That's a beautiful sweep shot. We've seen 3 different sweeps from Usman Khawaja, and they've been excellent. Great in manoeuvring the bowling, great in manoeuvring the field. We saw a reverse sweep, a paddle, and now the hard square sweep. You can't stress the importance or overstress the importance of the sweep in modern one-day cricket. Doesn't come naturally to most Australian players, but he's worked on it quite a lot. We spoke about the dimensions early on of the ground as well, and this is the ideal end for Dawson to operate from, to a left-hander. So longer boundary, 81 metres on that side, shorter boundary straight.
Oh, there's another one of those laps. So he's got all the tools, hasn't he?
He has, again. Great to watch. And now the fielding captain is thinking, where do I try and block that stroke from? Which fielder do I move? If I do that, I open up another gap. Do I get Dawson to bowl over the wicket? Takes LBW out of play a bit then. Makes a reverse sweep earlier. Easier. Beautifully played. Great position. The head right over the ball. One of the big mistakes you can do in a sweep shot is to actually leave your head behind that front knee. You've got to be right over the front toe.
Richie, normal.
And good fielding. 8 runs from the over. It's 166 for 3.
I've been waiting to smile, been holding for a while. Take me with you if I can. Been dreaming of this since a child. I'm on top of the
world. Stokes is going to continue. It's 6.5 overs because of getting that. Well, he's got a problem with his left leg.
It's a bit nerve-wracking, these injuries, isn't it? When you three injury concerns at the moment for England. Ian Morgan, the captain, with a finger injury, and Mark Wood walking off. Jofra Archer concern as well. Over here, you need your full squad fit, the key players as well.
Oh, it's over to Ian Bishop. What have you spotted?
Just a reconfirmation of why Liam Plunkett has gotten selected in this squad and what has made him so good over the years, getting wickets in the middle. A number of people know this, but you talk about the wicket, Sanga, you said it's two-pace, so he's got the cross-seam delivery that can kick or he can slide. It got Warner. Then he looks to bowl this slower cutter. He misdirected it, but there's a lack of pace that probably proved the undoing of Marsh as much as bounce. And then Michael Clarke felt he could have bowled seam up because there was lateral movement, and he did change that up as well.
Yes.
So we saw 3 types of deliveries, but he's also a tall guy that hits the pitch pretty hard. When you compare him to someone like Curran as well, he gets the ball to bounce a little bit more than normal. Curran played comfortably by Warner, and the ball
a score of 172. The critical players will now take 8 hour hydration.
ये हुआ ना डबल मजा जैसे जैस सुपर 4G वाईफाई डिवाइस पे मिले डबल डेटा
Some score updates for other matches. The ICC Men's Cricket World Cup warm-up match and the Oval between India and New Zealand. India 115 for 8 for 29 overs. And the one-day cup final and Lewis after 28 of their 50 overs. Hampshire 122-4 against Sussex. Here at the National Bowl today to pick up your ICC Men's Cricket World Cup merchandise at our venue stores. Merchandise outlets will be located on the east side of the ground, above the ground to the tunnel, and also underneath the shade board stand closest to the west gate. Spectators today are also able to make use of the Hampshire Bowl's free Wi-Fi. So log on to the service, you can open up settings on your device and select the Wi-Fi enabled membership off. With the sun shining brightly here in Hampshire today, spectators are reminded of the need to take precautions to help you enjoy your day. Please drink.
अब क्लियर दे 0 डैंड्रफ नॉन स्टॉप सिर्फ 199 में फ्री हैव स्विच टू क्लियर
आप अपना शैम्पू कब बदलेंगे
3 for 3.
बड़ी स्पीड है बॉस
क्योंकि जैस सुपर 4G है पाकिस्तान फास्टेस्ट मोबाइल नेटवर्क
A+B whole square with a smile. Big, big algebra भी easy हो जाए.
सारे फॉर्मूले याद हो गए
A+B whole square. इसका magic ही हो.
Nearly tripping over in the pull shot. But that was the second boundary in a row down the ground, and he's starting to find his feet.
The bowling card for England. Wood going off with a niggle. Tom Curran really. 5 overs, 415, set the tone right up top. Plunkett with the wickets. He's been excellent bowling with a lot of variation, yes, but also with accuracy. Dawson slightly expensive in comparison, but it's a really great stage of the game where it can go either way. Australia can accelerate, yes, but England does have the chance to pick them back with some more wickets.
He's got the feel, given that there is a bit of a two-paced nature of this pitch, that I think we've got a close game on our hands today.
I think so. It's looking at the field, it just concerns me that there aren't any really kind of wicket-taking field positions in play. It's very conventional. I would rather have the mid-wicket up a little bit more, maybe catching, trying to get the batsman hitting it a bit harder through and past him. Actually try and use Kavajas like him for their reverse sweep. Try and get that cow point a little bit squarer, maybe a catching opportunity. At the moment, game's just drifting back Australia's way.
Yeah, there'll come a point if this partnership maintain it for another few overs where they'll hit a point in this 50 overs where they'll start to really up the ante. There is batting to come, and so some real talent with Stoinis, and Carey's a terrific player as well. And then you start to hit the bowlers, but the next two players and Coulter-Nile, there's some all-round talent there. So the next three batsmen have got some good hitting ability. So there's a real chance Australia can look to accelerate in the final 10 overs. They might leave it a little deeper than that.
The more dot balls that Dawson can bowl at the Australian batsman, the pressure will build. That's another way of manufacturing a wicket, buying a wicket, really. Keep the pressure on. The batsman trying to do a bit too much. Don't think this World Cup is going to see huge scores, especially in games between the top sides, and the bowling attacks will be able to drag those totals below the 300 to 310 mark. That'll make for very interesting cricket. Spinners may come into the tournament as the pitchers get older.
Yeah, well, I think that's what I'm most interested. Those sides that can break free. There's only been 4 occasions in World Cup cricket that we've seen 400 plus. There's only been 2 individuals who have scored double centuries, that being Guptill and Gale. So these individual feats and team milestones. But I think you're right. Once you get that real duel going on out there, it's going to be about taking the wickets and in a run chase, making sure it is under 300.
That's the end of the 34th over. 2 very well run runs, and Australia are 176 for 3.
Change ball in at the pavilion ends over 59, Tom Curran.
Steve Smith 76 against the West Indies. That was at an outground just next to where we're playing here today. So bowling options for England. Woody's out. He's on niggle in that left leg of his, but Curran with 5 overs remaining back into the attack. He's bowled a maiden, no wicket for 15, and England desperately need to break this partnership.
A good bit wide. Stephen Smith, Usman Khawaja, you want to try and put some pressure back on Tom Curran, especially in the first 2 deliveries that he bowls. We use their feet, get down the ground, and try and hit over mid-on, mid-off. Those are options. Curran will try and be accurate, put all the pressure back on the batsman to manufacture some. It's a good comeback from Curran.
Oh, what's interesting is you have got mid-on and mid-off up, and yet there is no confidence from Smith, who's got that half century, to hit hard through the ball. Without the two-pace nature of the pitch, he'd be looking to go really hard back over the bowler's head right now.
I think they might have had a conversation as to which batsman is really going to try and bat through a period and which one might take a risk. And Usman Khawaja is probably stronger, more of a power hitter than Smith. That could be an option that he takes. Slight difference in attitude between the England side over the last 2.5 years and what we've seen Australia here. Australia's been very watchful, trying to repair, rebuild and consolidate, whereas England, right throughout their innings, maybe because of the deep batting lineup, they just tend to play with a lot more abandon. They tend to take a little, but they've also got a lot of reward.
Yeah, on the back of Joss Butler, hasn't he become a player in the last couple of years? I mean, he's been absolutely phenomenal. And a big role behind the stumps as well, but love watching him play and the freedom in which he goes about his business. Very humble man, but I asked him in Australia, the BBL recently, you know, what was the turning point for you? He said, it's just believing more in myself, working hard mentally. There's a slow ball.
And it's also about trust in the rest of the players and the team, isn't it? That you can play to your strengths and really not let the team down, because everyone's capable, everyone buys into the team strategy. There's no criticism when you try to play the way that you do and you walk back into a dressing room. You're allowed to make mistakes and learn from them. It seems to be having a really good, excellent team culture as well. Frees you up, doesn't it?
Yes.
Again, nothing forceful. So they've definitely got a total in mind, haven't they, Australia? Definitely just playing within themselves at this stage. There's no urgency. You're not looking after the drinks break at a different style of play. Quite often you'll see a drinks break and then there'll be a chat and it's like, right, let's up the ante. Let's take a few risks.
Tom Curran's main variation will be that back of the hand slow ball. He can bowl a Yorker. Doesn't have the extreme pace.
But there you go. That is a little bit forceful now from Smith.
That's a beautiful stroke. It was coming, and sometimes as a bowler you get an inkling as the over ends. Australia 185 for 3.
मंथली अल्ट्रा ऑफर लगाओ और सिर्फ 450 रुपए में पूरे महीने की आसानी के लिए 20 GB डेटा पाओ। अभी *335# मिलाओ। अपग्रेड टू Telenor 4G स्पीड।
Nice D down here at the Hampshire Bowl. Khawaja going along his business. Just so impressed with Steve Smith and what he's been able to do in this build-up to the World Cup. Scores of 22, 89 not out, 91 not out today, 57 not out in practice matches. John Wright, he came out to the Caribbean, Steve Smith in the CPL.
भाई मैसेज ਦਾ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੈਸੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਗਏ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ मैसेज मैं दोबारा कर देना लेकिन पैसे चेक नहीं किए जाके हैं चलो मैसेज में कर देना
Really, you just and someone stands out. He just seems to be operating at another level, makes it look easy, more time. Smith's looked a bit like that today. And the big question Australia have to work out, really, I think he's their best player. Warner at the top, that's obvious. Is he going to bat 3 or 4?
Where would you have him? That is stopped by some distance as well. Good work from Dawson. It's the end of Khawaja.
And if there's one man who's really wanting to make an impression, Dawson brought in last minute to the squad. And he knows that if he wants to play in the World Cup,
There are opportunities out there, and there will be opportunities moving forward. We mentioned earlier, if you
out of reach of that man at 45 on the offside.
Well, I'm just probably lucky it wasn't poor Collingwood at backward point. Seen him pull those out of a hat on plenty of occasions. Nice length from Plunkett. Just out of reach of Jason Roy there at backward point.
Well, Collingwood's catch to get rid of Matthew Hayden at Bristol in 2005 was one of the cricket's great catches, wasn't it? Were you there? I know you were on the tour. Were you playing in the game? Were you?
I certainly was.
You weren't batting at the other end, were you?
I was obviously out. I can't remember.
No, not necessarily. He did get out occasionally, Haydos. He did.
Yeah, no, it was a unbelievable catch. Cut shot. Didn't see Matthew Hayden play too many cut shots.
No, I mean, it's a stroke usually associated with left-handers, but he really didn't play it. Full stop, but that's... He liked the advance against the new ball, though, didn't he? Came marching down the pitch as if to make the statement about who was boss.
He had a brilliant pull shot, so anything short he didn't need to cut. He did play the pull or the hook.
No run, says Steve Smith. 27 gone, 137 for 3.
Telenor 4G presents live telecast of Cricket World Cup 2019 on PTV Sports.
Present run rate of a tad over 5 and over. Six and over from here gets the Australians to 275. Smith 35 from 37 balls. Khawaja 6 from 9 balls. Dawson being very pedantic about his field.
Catch it,
Good solid cricket from Dawson. Bowl it straight and full, bowl to your field.
Catch it.
Nice last minute decision, it looked like too. I'm sure it's a pre-med, they sort of have to be, but he left it late.
He plays it well, Khawaja. He plays in all three formats of the game. He's worked hard on it, the reverse sweep. Very comfortable again, because the ball's not spinning back, he's hitting that with the angle across him. He does well to control it and get into the gap. Beautiful timing, good fast hands to catch up with the speed of the ball.
And now he goes fine with the more orthodox paddle. I'm not sure he shouldn't be batting in the front three, but maybe this is he plays in the middle order.
An area of the game that he continues to improve is strike rotation. Used to get bogged down. Even that looks so simple, but he's had to practice it. He's had to work hard. He used to get bogged down against the spinners and then take a risk to look for a boundary, where now he's got ways to pick up one, pick up two, so he doesn't feel like he needs that boundary. 13 off 13. Really good start.
Where's the ball?
Hey. Smith didn't quite watch that onto the bat. Just feeling for the ball a little. This is valuable time at the crease for Steve Smith. I'd say crucial time at the crease. Certainly a couple here, but only a couple. 146 for 3.
फेसबुक पे लगाओ, व्हाट्सएप पे चलाओ, ईमो पे दिखाओ। जैज़ सुपर 4G से बॉल बाय बॉल स्कोर दुनिया को बता दो।
So average runs per wicket and Hampshire Bowl here in Southampton, 51.24. So it's suggesting it's the best batting pitch around the country. Old Trafford down the bottom there, 26.86. Batsmen have found it difficult. That's in England since Cricket World Cup 2015. But in saying that, the first innings average total here is 267. That's in one-day internationals.
Just goes to show what a good batting wicket this has become over the years. A lot of hard work gone in. The Oval, third on the list, but not for India today, 96 for 7 as the score stands against New Zealand. Ben Stokes running in, bowling change. Ouch.
It's not the start you want.
Definitely not coming in from the IPL. A lot of the players, it'll take a while to get used to the conditions. Some of these games, warm-up games, Sri Lanka used to have an abysmal record in warm-up games. We once played an A-team game in Australia 2 days before the major game, and I think we played 2 games. First one finished before the lights came on. So to keep the crowd happy, we played a second one. But 3 days later, we went out and scored 345, I think. So just goes to show sometimes the practice games count for nothing as long as you're confident when the real tournament starts.
Well, that's it. When the points are on offer, Singer, that's when it really counts. I mean, we can always acknowledge that if you've got that winning feeling in the dressing room, you're much better off than having lost all your warm-up games, but it's when it counts, and that's when the big players come to the party.
It has been the case, hasn't it? We've seen an example in Adam Gilchrist in 2007, nearly have one of the worst tournaments possible. And then come the finals, and he just absolutely dominated that with an incredible 100. Heartbreak for us as Sri Lankans that time. But again, the pitch has looked good. Slightly too paced, I would say, today. Stephen Smith has looked good, but still not absolutely fluent. Australian batsmen as a whole, they've looked slightly rusty. They'll take a while to work their way into this game and the tournament, but still not a bad start.
Yeah, I think for the Australian batsmen and maybe the South Africans, the pitches there are pretty similar to Australia, but there's an adjustment with the lack of pace. Australian conditions generally comes onto the bat a lot more quickly. So to bat well in England, you've got to have softer hands, you've got to delay your stroke play just a little bit more. And that's why I think over the years, like if you're looking at Test match cricket, Australia haven't won 5 Test Ashes series since 2001, haven't won over here. So there has been a problem in England. But this is a different format, 148 for 3.
नई सिम ऑफर, बस नई सिम से स्टार 1000 हैश मिलाओ और 50 रुपए के रिचार्ज पर अगले 60 दिन तक पाओ 1000 MB, 500 U2U PTCL मिनट्स, 25 ऑफ नेट मिनट्स पूरे 5 दिन के लिए।
Vote for your favourite play of the day. There you go, ICC It's -cricket.com/POTD. It's good to have your say in things and interaction. So Dawson, he's bowled 2 overs and has gone for 12 runs so far. Still operating with a slip in play. That ball trying to spin away to the right-hander, but it's another terrific shot from Smith. You mentioned fluency. The longer he's out there, you're going to start to see this sort of stroke play improve.
It's absolutely brilliant. Not a lot of turn and offer. And Dawson, sometimes it's his advantage. In this case, his weakness. Ball's quite flat, quite quickly. Gives enough pace for Stephen Smith to work the ball into that vacant mid-wicket gap. Brilliant batting again. Boundary, immediately rotates, strike, 2 long off. And you'll see more and more of that. Batsmen trying to exploit gaps, coming down the track, covering the line of the ball, so you have a second line of defense if you miss it in terms of your pads. Very, very good to watch. Khawaja as well. He's been maneuvering the bowling pretty well, and you need this partnership to continue and grow. Usman Khawaja, very good on the reverse sweep. He followed that up with a lovely paddle sweep. Sweeps have become so important in every format of the game, not just as scoring opportunities, but also about maneuvering the field, opening up gaps, getting the fielding captain and the bowler to think. If you don't have a short fine leg, you use the paddle. If there's a gap behind cover, you use the reverse sweep. It puts a lot of... It's so vital that children from a very young age are taught the importance of the sweep shot. The entire variety of sweep shots that have come into the game now, it gives them so many more options as batsmen.
Yeah, and they're so clever, aren't they, the batsmen now? And I mean, you've only just finished playing. You were the same style. You hit the ball where the fielders aren't, and you've got to practice that. Australian batsmen, as a kid, you weren't really taught the sweep shot because you didn't need it as much with the quicker, bouncier pitches. But I certainly wish it was a modern shot in Australia when I was growing up, because you've got so much more versatility as a player. In the shorter formats, we see it used often, as well as playing in India and the subcontinent. The sweep shot is so crucial. It's the end of the 30th. It's 156 for 3.
अब क्लियर दे 0 डैंड्रफ नॉन स्टॉप सिर्फ 199 रुपए में. फ्री हैव स्विच टू क्लियर.
आप अपना शैम्पू कब बदलेंगे?
So Smith, he's got his twitches and he's 49 on his back. He's 44.
This middle order is going to be so important for Australia, isn't it? Beautiful scenery here in Southampton. Batting card for Australia. Some starts, but no one really going on. Hopefully Smith, 44, not out at the moment, and Khawaja will want to build a really good partnership here, so that Australia can launch and get over that 300 mark. Really, when you're batting against England, you really need that cushion.
Well, there's the launch. That could be Clarkey, actually. Michael Clark's into his boats. Well, I think he likes the big engines in them. It's a big power.
It's the same with his cars, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Well, that got high on Khawaja. So Khawaja now, this is an interesting next 10 overs for Australia, just to try and maintain a scoring rate, try and get up around 6 and over. They're on track for about 260 at this stage, but they've still got the wickets in the bank. So the final 10 overs, if this partnership can maintain, they're 48 from 49, these two. And final 10 could be a bit of a blast.
Wickets are so important, aren't they? I mean, you have certain passages of play that you can try and attack. The fielding restrictions end after 40 overs, so you really need to have wickets in the shed so you can attack those periods of play before the extra fielder goes out. You want to target certain bowlers. Dawson here could have been a target, but again, this is a rebuilding period for Australia. And that's the real key in actually the matchups that you concentrate on as you analyze your strategy and go into a game. Being able to maximize opportunities, create opportunities, really, for building those partnerships.
So the last 10 overs, I'll talk about the 10 overs that are coming up. The last 10, that was a beautiful stroke from Smith, and that was Sean Marsh, ledge down the leg side. But Smith has been getting better and better. He's really making the most of the opportunity, as well as Khawaja. Back live. Class about him, Khawaja. He's not a big user of the feet. In that, I mean, he doesn't, even on that last stroke, he doesn't make a big stride down the pitch. So he has to wait a bit longer than someone who really steps out to it. But he's a classy player.
He's great to watch. I've seen him develop over the years. He had a few tough years for Australia, but I think players, the more they play, the more they understand what their strengths and weaknesses are, and they understand the practice plan that comes along with it. And he's been excellent for Australia in the last 2 years. Every batsman, Slats, I believe, has a specific stride length that's unique to them. And the more you struggle with that, I think that's when sometimes you don't time the ball well, you look scratchy, don't really settle in. And once you understand those little nuances in your own game, it helps you to settle in to a game plan. It's like Stephen Smith. It's not something you'll teach a kid, but it's beautiful to watch him bat because he's in complete control of what he does.
Yeah, mate.
That's the 50-run stand between Smith and Khawaja. It's 158 for 3. Form line that was missing in the IPL, so he needs to find some form. Poised. There's a real determination in the eyes of Steve Smith and Dave Warner after what they've been through. And there's only one thing they can do now is do what they do best, and that's out in the middle.
Great placement. Opening of the bat at the last minute to get it behind point. It's a big ground on that side. Running vital too. Stephen Smith booed onto the ground today, and you get a lot of that during this tournament from the home fans. But the best way to answer them is to keep scoring runs. Beautifully batted again.
Yeah, they're going to cop it, I think, right the way around the UK. But it was interesting. I was sitting on a balcony, that beautiful, fluent cover drive he played, but they still applauded the nice stroke.
It'll take a while for him to settle in, I reckon. That's a beautiful sweep shot. We've seen 3 different sweeps from Usman Khawaja, and they've been excellent. Great in manoeuvring the bowling, great in manoeuvring the field. We saw a reverse sweep, a paddle, and now the hard square sweep. You can't stress the importance, or overstress the importance of the sweep in modern one-day cricket. Doesn't come naturally to most Australian players, but he's worked on it quite a lot. We spoke about the dimensions early on of the ground as well, and this is the ideal end for Dawson to operate from to a left-hander. So longer boundary, 81 metres on that side, shorter boundary straight.
That's another one of those laps. So he's got all the tools, hasn't he?
He has, again. Great to watch. And now the fielding captain is thinking, where do I try and block that stroke from? Which fielder do I move? If I do that, I open the ball over the wicket. Takes LBW out of play a bit then. Makes a reverse sweep earlier. Easier. Beautifully played. Great position. The head right over the ball. One of the big mistakes you can do in a sweep shot is to actually leave your head behind that front knee. You've got to be right over the front toe.
Normal.
And good fielding. 8 runs from the over. It's 166 for 3.
Telenor 4G present live telecast of Cricket World Cup 2019 on PTV Sports.
18 overs remaining. 58 now, the partnership, a crucial partnership for Australia. Stokes is going to continue. It's 6.5 overs because of Wood. He's got a problem with his left leg. That's the reports from the England dressing room. Yes.
It's a bit nerve-wracking, these injuries, isn't it, when you're preparing for your opening game? Three injury concerns at the moment for England. You're Morgan, the captain, with a finger injury. And Mark Wood walking off. Jofra Archer concern as well. They'll be here. You need
224 for 5.
Any batsman for Australia, number 4, Alex Carey.
Need your full squad fit, the key players as well.
Well, it's over to Ian Bishop. What have you spotted?
Just a reconfirmation of Wiley and Plunkett has gotten selected in this squad and what has made him so good over the years, getting wickets in the middle. A number of people know this, but you talk about the wicket, Sanger, you said it's two pace, so he's got the cross-seam delivery that can kick or he can slide. It got Warner, then he looks to bowl this slower cutter. He misdirected it, but there's a lack of pace that probably proved the undoing as Marsh as much as bounce. And then Michael Clark felt he could have bowled seam up because there was lateral movement, and he did change that up as well. So we saw three types of deliveries, but he's also a tall guy that hits the pitch pretty hard. When you compare him to someone like Curran as well, he gets the ball to bounce a little bit more than normal. Curran played comfortably by Warner, and the ball pitches in the same place and it bounces at least a foot higher. So that's a type of challenge that Plunkett provides in those middle overs, and everyone wants to get wickets in the middle. If you don't have spinners, Plunkett can do it for you.
Brilliant Bish. It's a wide, very short indeed there from Stokes. And so there's the variation of the short ball. We just got a little bit too short. Not to be forgotten, that's for sure.
A great piece by Ian Bishop on this. And I think, to me, Liam Plunkett in the modern age is almost like an old-fashioned bowler. Doesn't complicate things too much. He has a pretty clear plan. Nothing out of the back of the hand. Just a variation of where he holds the seam and his little off-cutter. He's pretty happy doing that, and he's very effective with it as well. There's been a lot of analysis done, a lot of variation in scratchy and not fluent at the start. He took on the captaincy from Ajinkya Rahane and it just completely turned him around. Look, the Stephen Smith of old, and here it's been very impressive.
So he's hard to get away at the moment, Stokes. And that's the end of the 33rd. It's 172 for 3. And
with a score of 172 for Cook, the players will now take 8 hour hydration.
ये हुआ ना डबल मजा जैसे जैस सुपर 4G वाईफाई डिवाइस पे मिले डबल डेटा
Some score updates for other matches. The ICC Men's Cricket World Cup warm-up match and the Oval between India and New Zealand. India 115 for 8 from 29 overs. And the one-day cup final at Lords after 28 of their 50 overs. Hampshire 122 for 4 against Sussex. Here at the National Bowl today to pick up your ICC Men's Cricket World Cup merchandise at our venue stores. Merchandise outlets will be located on the east side of the ground, while the groundsman's tunnel, and also underneath the shade boards stand closest to the west gate. Spectators today are also able to make use of the Hampshire Bowl's free Wi-Fi. So onto the service, you can open up settings on your device.
Seeing Michael would pull up like that.
I'm good to see Jofra out there as well, though. I'm getting a little feel for things as they get closer to the World Cup proper. Ben Stokes will complete the over. Well over the mid-wicket. Oh, Jofra. Hope he hasn't hurt himself now. Slipped as he got near to the rope. The leg, yeah, he's just indicating there that his legs slid from under him. You make them tough. Not all way.
Thank God. 2 in 2 balls. Wood first, Archer next. Thank God he got up there with a smile on his face. One thing about Jofra Archer, I watched him through the IPL. He's an amazing athlete. You watch him bowl, you watch him run. Yeah, his heels, just those back spikes didn't stick in. Yeah, he's an amazing athlete. I think he's going to have a huge World Cup. I think he's going to play. I think he's going to be such an important part for this England team.
Nice length. Marsh was hesitant. The footwork was belated and negligent in getting forward to a full length.
It just seems like there's enough in this surface, Bish. Just a little bit of movement. Again, that's the length that does Warner there. Stokes bowls a really nice length across him. But there just seems to be enough nibble at the moment that batsmen haven't timed the ball perfectly. Saw Finch get hit on the pads a couple of times. Lots of dots to David Warner, as you can see there.
Yeah, easy boundary. And thanks to Michael Clark for the correction. Excellent run from Warner. Very quick, good communication. 34 for 1.
पाकिस्तान भर की ख़वातीन ने किया वसीम अकरम को चैलेंज कि इनका डिटर्जेंट एरियल से बेहतर है। हो गया मुकाबला। लगाते हैं सालन और केचप के साथ दाम। अरे रुकिए। एक को धोएंगे आपके पाउडर से और दूसरे को नए एरियल से। नया एरियल डबल एक्शन फॉर्मूला के साथ सख्ता बेहतर निकाले सिर्फ एक दलाई में। तो कौन उतरा आपके चैलेंज पर पूरा?
Telenor 4G presents live telecast of Cricket World Cup 2019 on PTV Sports.
ईसार के इजहार में अगर दाग लग जाए तो दाग तो अच्छे हैं। सर्फ एक्सेल।
फेसबुक पे लगाओ, व्हाट्सएप पे चलाओ, ईमो पे दिखाओ। जैज़ सुपर 4G से बॉल बाय बॉल स्कोर दुनिया को बता दो।
I really do like Warner and Finch at the top of the order. I think they're so dangerous as a combination. Oh, nicely bowled. That's not far away. It's a tough one because the likes of Khawaja, who's been in terrific form and scoring a lot of runs, Sean Marsh, you know, these guys, Khawaja certainly I think is a better one-day player when he opens the batting. I think it's a specialist role for someone like Usman Khawaja. But I think the partnership is very important, and I think Warner and Finch have had success. They've batted together for a long period of time, so I'd like to see Australia go that way and then look to Khawaja and Marsh at number 3.
Not quite off the middle. Not effective enough for Warner.
Yeah, again, just not out of the middle because of that movement. Saw the ball before just come back off the pitch. This time, this one just goes away from Warner to really good length, trying to get him off that crease, get him forward, looking for an outside edge. He gets away with it on this occasion, picks up a boundary.
Talk about Warner, and Warner had an excellent IPL, 692 runs, and I think you alluded to some of that earlier. Since he's come back in the matches for Australia against New Zealand, against the West Indies, hasn't quite hit those same heights. Scores of 39, 0, 2 and 12 prior to this.
Yeah, I think he might be a little bit frustrated, Bish, as well. The fact that there's uncertainty around, is he going to open, is he going to bat 3? And I'm sure he wouldn't be saying that to anybody. He'll be over the moon that he's back in the team, and he'll be happy to do whatever's best for the team. But I think, you know, you look at his runs in the IPL, he knew his job. He knew his responsibility. He knew he was facing the first ball, and that was clear for him. And that's where I feel Aaron Finch and Justin Langer have got to make a decision, whatever the decision, but make a decision and stick with it. Clear David Warner's mind and allow him to know his role, and from now just go, just play his natural game.
It's
It's not a bad problem to have. You got Khawaja in form. Sean Marsh has been, the last 12 months been fantastic in one-day cricket. Good, strong mid through there as well. So Australia's got options, and sometimes that can make it hard for the selectors as well. Too many people scoring runs. It's a good problem to have. You say that all the time as a captain or as a player, but you need to make decisions, and I think the sooner Australia can lock in their batting order, I think the better.
Yeah, since the beginning of 2018, Sean Marsh averaging 53. A strike rate of 91 as well. 37 for 1.
U4 नई सिम ऑफर। नई सिम से स्टार 1000 हैश मिलाओ और 50 रुपए की रिचार्ज पर अगले 60 दिन तक पाओ 1000 MB, 500 U2U PTCL मिनट्स, 25 ऑफ नेट मिनट्स पूरे 5 दिन के लिए।
अल्ट्रा ऑफर लगाओ और सिर्फ 450 रुपए में पूरे महीने की आसानी के लिए 20 GB डेटा पाओ। अभी स्टार 335 हैश मिलाओ। अपग्रेड टू Telenor 4G स्पीड। अब क्लियर दे 0 डैंड्रफ नॉन स्टॉप।
I like this match as well. Joss Butler captaining today. I like Stokes to Warner. Again, he bowls quite wide of the crease. He's got a natural angle across David Warner, the left-hander. I think you're going to see this matchup when Australia play England. They're both aggressive players, so competitive. I like seeing these two go at each other. This man here continues to improve as well. I think England are going to win this World Cup. I think he's going to have a huge tournament, a huge World Cup, Joss Butler. Another one who's coming off some great form in the IPL. Vice captain of this England team, now a senior player. That's who you turn to in big tournaments. There's a lot of expectation. That man there can handle it.
Just looking at it from here, and I'm going back to the previous over that Stokes finished, where he got Warner sort of stuck on the crease with an angle across him. Does get the ball to straighten as well. Just wondering if they needed a slip still for Warner.
Yeah, I like it, Vish. I think that's a good call. I think they can maybe use that man at mid-wicket again with that angle across Sean Marsh and Warner. I think that man at mid-wicket could go into slip. Get the batsman trying to drive. It's a fraction full. He gets in the gap on this occasion, Marsh. Another example of how fast this outfield is. Just the block and picks up 3. Piece of fielding from Vince. Backward point. Again, the line's right from Stokes to fraction full, and Marsh can jam down on it. But I think if he's going to bowl that line with that angle across the left-hander, I think slip is a really big player.
Oh, goodness. Just had a little bit of spin on it that took it outside the off stump and back behind the stump.
Bit of side spin might have saved him there.
Very good from Stokes. 43 for 1.
पाकिस्तान भर
वसीम अकरम को चैलेंज कि इनका डिटर्जेंट एरियल से बेहतर है। हो गया मुकाबला, लगाते हैं सालन और केचप के साथ। अरे रुकिए, एक को धोएंगे आपके पाउडर से और दूसरे को नए एरियल से। नया एरियल डबल एक्शन फॉर्मूला के साथ सख्ता बेहतर निकाले सिर्फ एक धुलाई में।
तो कौन उतरा आपके चैलेंज पर पूरा?
ये हुआ ना डबल मजा, जैसे जैज सुपर 4G वाईफाई डिवाइस पे मिले डबल डेटा।
Steve Smith has been in very good form in the practice games they've played. Nice. Presented the full face at the bat, did David Warner, and finding some of his best touch there.
Yeah, it's a nice shot from Warner. Again, full face of the bat, looking to go back over the bowler's head. One of the areas David Warner has always been brilliant at. Hitting the ball in the air is as comfortable for him as hitting along the ground. Not a big backlift, not a big follow through, just a check drive, but look at his shape, good head position, good front knee bend. Such a beautiful shot. You can see in Dave Warner's intent, the way when he's blocking the ball or when he's calling for a run, he's got that energy about him at the moment. And through the IPL, there was no doubt that hunger inside him to be back playing at the highest level, to be back batting and scoring runs. So important to him, and you just get that sense it's exactly the same. I know it's a practice game, but he's taking it like a World Cup final. You can hear that weight on, big loud call. You know from someone like David Warner.